Hello and welcome to a scene for Rage Across New York. Today, Alicia has gone to the gym for two reasons. One, she is pretty sure that she has finished her essay. And two, she could use some frustration venting. So, seeing as Blitzkrieg was not already there when she arrived, there's lots of places he could be. But she figures sooner or later he'll show up at the gym because there are some lessons on later, even if she wasn't planning on coming to today's one. So he's bound to show up sooner or later. So she just gets one of the sturdier punching bags and is, she's venting more than a bit of frustration on this bag.
At this point, I would say about 15, 20 minutes later, you hear the sound of the keys kind of opening the door, and Blitzkrieg walks in. As he's hearing you, I guess, punching the bag, he stops for a minute, peeks in, and then he kind of just goes, "Oh, okay," and just continues in. And he just is kind of like, while you're like hitting the bag and stuff, he's just very casually like putting his stuff down, get new clothes, la la la, like folding everything, and then comes back into the gym area. He's just kind of sitting there.
Hi.
Hello.
Thump, thump, thump.
Finally dealing with some of your issues, I see.
Some people are just so frustrating.
Who exactly?
Well, it seems like everyone and their mother seems to think I'm going to sleep with anyone that's male that is within a meter's area of me. It's ridiculous.
Have you proved to them otherwise?
They keep going, no matters. And I'm like, for goodness sake, I've managed to be a werewolf for 6 months and not wound up randomly pregnant. Leave me the hell alone.
Well, they're accusing you of breaking the litany, you realize?
No, they're accusing me, they're reminding me not to break it. Like I need reminding of the same friggin' part of the litany over and over again.
He kind of looks to the side. He pulls out a cigarette and lights it up, puts it in his mouth. He goes, "That sounds like the same goddamn thing to me. Like, I mean, you're the lawyer, I guess."
There's a very slight difference. She kind of turns to face him as the fact of thinking about it kind of distracts her slightly. There's a very slight difference, but it is pretty similar, yes. I mean, there is a difference between accusing someone of having done something and accusing someone of being likely to do something.
So they believe that you are likely to be an oath breaker and...
Or somehow seem to think that it's funny.
I don't see how that's funny. I mean, you know me. I do have a sense of humor, of a sort. But I don't see how assuming that you are likely to violate the litany and Gaia's law.
And
I don't see how that's humorous.
No, I don't see how it's funny either. Not to mention, it's implying that I can't hang around with guys without ending up sleeping with them. My pack's male. What am I supposed to do? Just never speak to anyone?
Who's doing this? Is this...
It's mostly Aaron, but it does come up from more than one person.
Well, I can definitely have a talk with Aaron at least. What have you done? And he looks at her.
Well, the thing is, I don't want to tell Aaron off, because mostly he's a decent guy, and I think he seems to think it's funny somehow, but it's really getting annoying. And if someone else does it, it just feels like people seem to think that they can push me around because I'm a girl.
Have you reminded them that girl or boy you are a Gauru? And he looks. He's just. If you notice, he's not actually moving to do anything. He's just looking at you. He's and kind of smoking a cigarette very slowly. Have you reminded them of exactly what you are? Oh.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. Anyway, so what he asks is, have you reminded them of what you are?
Have to.
True, but you are dealing with Garu society, and let me remind you, Garu society is one of the most stubborn, pig-headed, white male-centric organizations ever. So, and we respect very many things, but even among, say, the Get, there are a couple of things that are important, one of which is your ability to fight and your ability to win. So, have you reminded them of whom they're dealing with?
I've been joining in fighting the BSDs. I've been joining in fighting all sorts of things that have been attacking the Sept. I've been going after Banes. It's not like I'm not doing my part.
That's not what I mean, though. Yes, you're doing your duty to Gaia. Okay. That's good. If that's not stopping what sounds to me like a certain amount of ritualistic torment, then what do you do next? What is your next option?
Well, it doesn't help that Aaron's a Foston and I'm still a Cleath.
I will deal with Aaron. Aaron is not your problem.
Well,
But let us
90% of the problem, to be honest.
Well, let us say too fresh. as he's rolling his eyes at something, you weren't there for the scene, but he seems to be remembering something and just rolling his eyes.
I haven't actually met him yet. I keep hearing bad things, though.
He's fine. He's young and dumb. Like young, dumb people.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting the impression of, that he was very impulsive, more than a little bit violent, and quite likely at some point to end up hurting someone he doesn't mean to. And most of the Garu can take it, but everyone else...
Well, I think one thing you have to remember is we are creatures that can take a remarkable amount of punishment, and we only respect a certain amount of strength. If someone, let's say Cleath Well, Fostern, it's only one rank above you. Were you to challenge Ardrin or better, I would be more wary. But, you know, there are always avenues. There are always ways out.
It's true. I'm a child of Gaia, God damn it. I shouldn't have to punch people in the face to get them to listen to me.
You are going to have to learn that is exactly what you need to do.
Yes, I'm getting that impression now, and you're very much telling me that, and the more that I think about it, the more sense that it makes. But that doesn't change the fact that I shouldn't have to.
Well,
I do have to, clearly, but I shouldn't have to punch them in the face to get them to listen to me.
Well, I don't know very many Child of Gaia, to be honest. I've met a few here and there. But one of the things that I've found is that when you seem to be the odd person out, in whatever capacity you are the odd person out, you must occasionally show that you will not be bullied or picked on or disrespected. And when people see this, they very often will relent, if only for the purposes of self-preservation.
So basically, the next time Aaron says something like that, punch him in the face.
I would formally challenge him rather than just punching him in the face, but yes, that is a thing you can do. He pulls out a bottle of water, squirts it in his mouth. Think about it. Even if you lose, what you have shown him is that you are willing to stand up for yourself and draw blood. The fact that a Child of Gaia would do that does mean something.
This is true. But challenges don't always involve drawing blood.
He narrows his eyes at you, and you hear sort of like a low growl in his throat. The point being...
No, I get what you mean. I do.
He just kind of rolls his eyes at you.
Well, I do. It's just... No. I try to pin down specifics sometimes.
I understand. But you're going to have to learn that we very much live in a closed-minded, protective society, and we do that for a reason. We are keeping ourselves as safe as possible from all threats because there are so many.
As safe as possible from all threats because there are so many, including the people that you keep pushing around until they snap at you.
Yes, actually. Which is why you learn to be nice.
Precisely.
Or you get your face torn off. Either one is an option. And he just kind of shrugs.
And she'll smile a little because she's starting to see the humour in the situation a bit more now.
Yeah.
Not so much the humour in the actual jokes, because, as Blitzkrieg says, they're not really that funny.
Nope.
But she's at least trying to see the silver lining.
The benefit that you have in this situation, well, besides the fact that you've been training with me, and most people know that, is that no one will see you coming. I mean, can you imagine? Like, look at me, I'm a little Child of Gaia, bam! And all of a sudden you've hit them in the face with a rather large and mean-looking fist. I'd be surprised. I'd be hella surprised.
Yep.
And I don't think this is how you should solve all of your problems, and I'm not saying it is. But I am saying that for this particular problem, occasionally a show of force may help.
No, I get what you mean. I always think that violence, even small amounts, should always be a last resort, but they're not going to show any respect any other way because they're idiots.
A tough lesson to learn. Very tough.
I mean, Travis respects my judgment. I've never hit him.
He's a person that it worked on. Isn't he also your pack beta or something like that?
No, Travis isn't in my pack. He's in Aaron's.
Oh. Well, whose pack are you in?
I'm in the Dogwood pack.
He kind of raises an eyebrow.
It's my pack with Donald. That's Program Weaver, and Keegan, and well, Andre's still a cub because he's not allowed in the sept. Out of character. Johnny has had way too much to do.
Yeah, she's super busy.
Oh. And also out of character, Max has said Soul Howler has disappeared because he just hasn't been around. Eric just has not been around.
Okay.
But he was also theoretically the beta.
So
I would totally have Travis in my pack, but he likes reindeer. I don't blame him with his fighting style. I really don't.
You call that a fighting style? I call it learning how to get hit in the face. I'd rather just not be hit in the face if I can avoid it.
Yeah, but given that does seem to be his fighting style, get hit in the face and just attempt to hit the other person while they're busy hitting you in the face so they don't hit the squishier people. Reindeer does work.
Yes, although as I had to teach another Get recently, I believe his name is Contemplates the Mercy. You never let your opponent get the first hit. There's always that minor maybe chance that they strike true. Even if you can take a lot of punishment, if they hit something vital, you still die. So allow it here.
I've got my essay with me. I think it's pretty much done. I wrote about 14 pages and then I edited it down a bit because we said 10. But I can't really think of much else to put in there. I mean, I can keep trying to think of stuff to go in there, but.
All right.
It seems done to me.
His eyes go from really sort of soft and friendly to really like hard and questioning in about an instant. And he's just like staring at you now. Present it. And
she'll get it out of her gym bag, which is off to one side of the room, and she'll hand it over.
And he flips it open. And you actually see that he's actually like beginning to read it. And he goes, "And what have you learned from writing this essay?"
I have learned that one of the biggest downsides to talking to other supernaturals is simply the fact that a lot of Garou will be complete dicks about it.
He closes at that point. He immediately closes the essay and looks at you. Is that all you learned?
No, but yeah, I think that's probably the biggest one because, you know, the vampires, they're a big threat. You can't trust them, but you can think of them like lawyers. You know you can't trust them. Some of them will screw you, some of them will screw other people for you, but either way, you can't trust them as far as you can throw them. That's fine. The changelings mess with your head, and they're
You're
basically a bunch of
you're speaking about a lot of
hallucinogenic.
you're speaking about a lot of things without referencing the litany. Reference the litany.
Oh, yeah, well, I referenced it in the essay. I'm just saying these are the things that I've been learning.
Then one would know that one does not deal with the vampires at all because the vampires are of the worm. Yes?
I can't smell worm, so,
Doesn't. It has been. It is known. It is. I don't understand. I'm not asking you to smell it of your own accord. I'm not asking you to have personal experience with their treachery. I'm asking you to understand and trust that we have generations upon generations upon generation of tradition that has in some ways kept us safe. In some
Okay,
ways
then.
it has led to, in some ways, and he actually raises his hands, in some ways it has led to idiocy as well, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with people trying to forge new traditions and find new ways to work. But especially when dealing with creatures that have been tainted by the worm, we have to be very careful.
Okay, if you want me to mention the things that I referenced the litany regarding the vampires, I went with you shall cause no action that causes a cairn to be violated.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that you can't find all of them. You can take out some of them, but if they think that we're going to keep doing that, going around sniffing them out and trying to kill them, there'll be no threat hanging over them to keep them away from the cairn.
Mm-hmm.
Respect the territory of another. Admittedly, that mostly refers to other Garou, but
Other changing breeds continue.
But theoretically, if they're not going to cause trouble and they're not going to hurt humans beyond, food, a little bit of food, as long as they're not hurting humans,
He kind of
then
narrows his
okay.
eyes.
I mean, people donate blood at blood banks all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You can survive without a pint of blood.
Mm-hmm.
It might make you a tiny bit woozy and technically count as hurting a human, but it's not the same as if they were going out actually hurting them, doing damage to them other than taking a little bit of blood.
And
Mosquitoes go
potentially,
around and take a little bit of blood. And Nancy, they drink blood.
as soon as you mention them, his eyes go down a lot. Like he's definitely staring at you now. Like before it was just kind of a general look of disapproval. Now he's looking at you like, the fuck?
Didn't you know that?
My point, and I'm not sure you grasped it yet, is that this particular point is not up for debate. Not really. If only because they represent such an insidious problem because we can't find them all that we cannot trust them to not attempt to violate our cairn. We have a loose accord, I assume, with the vampires of this particular city, but we cannot trust them to honor it with anything but the force of arms to defend ourselves. That is the reason you don't trust them.
I'm not saying we should trust them, just that going around killing them is, well, it's like going around and squashing roaches. You end up with a whole lot of roach eggs going everywhere, so you end up with more roaches and them causing more problems.
I don't understand when I say when I'm specifically saying not to trust them. I'm not specifically saying to run around and kill them. That is not where my head is at here. If I feel that a vampire must die, it is going to die. I don't care the consequences. I will eliminate it. But that's not where I am here. What I'm trying to teach you, and I can see you're going to be a very interesting student in this regard, is that a lot of these rules are in place for a reason. A lot of these rules are set up so that we, as Gauru, can remain safe. I know you've never experienced, an arch wizard attempting to drain the heart of a cairn and, sup himself on Gaia's life energy. I know you've never experienced that. Why? Because of people like me. People like me who will eliminate that threat, and they know that. You've never experienced changelings attempting to invade from the other side of the gauntlet because of people like Aaron who would sniff them out and kill them, and people like Mother Larissa who would stop them at the gates. I understand that you are looking for your own definition within this world, but you need to understand that the forces you are playing with are very deadly. All of them.
I do understand. I understand that they are dangerous. I understand that they can do a lot of bad things, both pretty much any supernatural. But I wouldn't judge all Garu by the Black Spiral dancers. I wouldn't judge all Red Talons by the ones that attacked our sept.
Here's the difference.
Seeing them as yeah, sorry, you continue.
He just kind of smiles and he goes, the difference between the Red Talons and, hell, even the Black Spirals is that we understand what they want. We understand how to deal with them. We don't understand, in this case, what, let's say, the vampires do, or the mages, or the Fae. We don't understand it. And while ignorance in and of itself is a very egregious sin, you are not acting in the capacity of a scout to tell us what they're capable of. You're acting in the capacity as their friend. And I'm warning you now, this is going to turn bad.
I'm not acting in the capacity of a friend of the vampires. I'm not. I keep being accused of that.
He looks at you and goes, your pedanticness is frustrating. And you actually see him like almost like his muscles are getting tight enough, like they're getting tight, and he seems to be getting like a little bit taller.
I just keep getting accused of that, and I'm not.
Not accusing you of being a friend to specifically the vampires.
And as for the mages, there is a very good reason for that, which I can't tell you, but Chases the Storm knows about it, and Hardlight knew about it. There is a very good reason.
He just looks at you. I don't need to know your reasonings, Cub. I do not need to know your reasonings. What I need you to know is that this is dangerous for you and for us. We don't know what we're dealing with. And I understand. You feel, as I said, if you were acting in the capacity of a scout and reporting on their capabilities, I would have a lot less of an initial problem with this. But what you are doing is you are trusting them. And this, in my eyes, is an egregious sin. And I am one of the more liberal among us. Do you think that the elders are looking at this with anything less than contempt? I'm the closest thing you have to an advocate. Believe me.
Well, how are we supposed to find out anything about any of the other kind of supernaturals if you don't let them talk to you? And
I'm
I'm
not.
not going and talking to the vampires. I'm going and talking to the mages, but like I said, there is a good reason for that. And if I don't understand them better, how am I going to deal with them? And the vampires, they come to me for presumably the same reason that the Red Talon came to me. Because I listen. And if I don't listen, then who is going to get that information?
So, I'm asking now then, is that the capacity in which you want to work? Will you work as not a spy, not anything so tawdry and dishonorable as a spy, but as someone who, with full knowledge of everyone involved, will report on the movements and or capabilities of these entities to the sept as an action of protection of our sept?
Well, I'm quite happy to tell you anything that I know about the vampires. And most of the
All of
stuff about the
them.
mages.
All of
And
them,
and
Alicia.
I don't hang out with the changelings.
I'm
I
not
never hang out with the changelings.
anyone you've specifically hung out with then. We need to know this.
Those are the only ones that I have. Oh, I did meet one demon. But he was hanging around with the mages. And I didn't really talk to him that much, apart from he ended up crying because I mentioned the abyss. But if that... Yeah.
I think you're... He seems to he's like holding the mat, and his hand seems to be shift, you can see the muscles and bone shifting underneath, through each of his fingers, one right after another, and it's shifting up and shifting down and shifting up and shifting down. He's like, you are so monumentally frustrating. But I consider that a sign of a very good student as opposed to a very bad student, and you're probably lucky for that.
Well, I do like learning things. Like, most people don't seem to know that vampires can turn into birds. I saw one turn into a bird. I don't know if they all can. They probably can't all do the same things. But one turned into a bird, and another one got a bunch of budgies to move into a tree. And so, that's something. And one kept appearing out of thin air. No, actually, two of them did that.
I will. And he picks up the paper again, and he looks at it. I will recommend you for fostering as a rank on one very specific condition. He's just looking at her.
What is it?
You will report on your movements with these entities to this sept at least once a month.
To who?
The
Because, like
elders.
I said, there's a secret regarding the mages that Chases the Storm knows and Hardlight knew. So I'm not supposed to spread that one around. So some of the stuff about the mages I can't really talk about.
Who is your loyalty to, dear?
To the Sept.
Excellent.
But what I'm
I am the
saying
warden.
is,
I am the
Chases the
warden of the
Storm
sept.
told me not to tell lots of people about that particular secret.
And as you say that, his claw just goes full Krenos, and he tears up the mats, and he goes, "Is Chases the Storm here?"
No.
I am the warden of the sept, not him. I need to know what I am dealing with.
Okay.
And he like gets up. He's just
That's why I was saying who I should tell it to. I don't mind telling you, because, like you said, you're the warden of the set. I can come and report to you, but if you mean at the mood telling everybody,
no,
some of
no,
that stuff...
distinctly not, distinctly not. But
Okay.
we do need a certain amount, and, and you can see him like he's very much forcing himself to calm down. Like he's very much like, it's like, okay, I need to know their movements. I need to know if they are a threat, and I very distinctly need to know what their capabilities are, as much as you can get. This
Okay.
is not. I'm not asking you to betray them. I'm not asking you to be their enemy. I'm asking you to watch, listen, and report.
Okay.
That's it. And he just, as he like gets up, he's like, I will take this back to the Sept. You have 2 jobs right now. Finish on the bag and repair that. And he points to the shredded mat, or replace it, either one. And he walks out of the. He walks out. You hear him like lock the door behind him. Oh, by the way, you do have keys to the gym. Pretty much whenever you. He makes sure that you can get in whenever you need to. So yeah, you have keys.
I guess that from the fact that you unlocked the door but said that it was okay for me to get there before you.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway.
I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure, in case you needed in case some people need reminders and stuff like that. Like, oh, I have keys. Yes. Okay. So anyway, he's going over to the Sept, to go do a thing.
Fair
And
enough.
yep, and we can end the scene right there.
Okay. Thank you, watchers, for watching, and thank you, Shan, for not frenzying.